Hollow Knight is a great game, I'm not going to deny that. One of my personal favorites, and definitely my favorite 2D game, my favorite Metroidvania, so on. But we wouldn't be making this video, or here at all, if there weren't a few issues. And yeah, even a great game like Hollow Knight has those issues. I think that the main issue is that people don't give it a chance. Now, you might say, oh, well, that's just the player's fault. They're not giving it a chance because they just aren't able to and they're just bored, so isn't that their fault? You're partly right, but the game design introduces the game, it just introduces it in a way that, personally, I probably wouldn't choose. It chooses to start you in this area called King's Pass. I think that's perfect. That area is perfect. But then, the Forgotten Crossroads. These are an issue. It's just boring. There's a few enemies, but, other than those few enemies, really nothing, and no, signs or anything to guide you to where you're supposed to go. That's the reason that people give up. The main area is boring. Now, there aren't a lot of ways to make it more interesting. Personally, I could only think of a few. Maybe more structures or a few more colors. But other than that, I really cannot think of anything that they could have done to make this area less boring. But there obviously are a few things. Maybe they could have added 2 charms that you can get right off the bat or something like that. Something to just keep the player wanting to keep going. Because that's really the issue, isn't it? They don't want to keep going if the game isn't fun. If you found a game that you thought was going to be great, and you played for, say, 30 minutes, because that's about the time it would take for a new player to find the first boss if they're actually going to give it a chance. And after those 30 minutes, if you find it boring, are you going to keep going? Probably not, because chances are you're just going to think that that's what the whole game is going to be. They definitely should have offered more glimpses into what the game was actually going to be instead of just a boring starting area. Now, obviously, it's to introduce most of the main mechanics and stuff, but they could have changed up the environment, maybe. I like how it's dark, but, they could have added a few things, and, just things to make the player want to keep going and want to give it more of a chance. But yeah, so Hollow Knight's issue, you could sum it up as just being the fact that the start is boring and it drives people away. Now, this isn't the entire issue, as say you're stuck on a boss, even one of the first few bosses, for a long time and you can't beat them. I have at least 70 tries on Hornet on my first attempt, but yeah, imagine you're just stuck over and over and over again, and you keep dying. Do you really want to keep playing that? Sounds boring, right? Well, too bad, that's just what Hollow Knight is, okay? That's not an issue. You might think that I was gonna say it's an issue. It's not. I think that it's perfectly fine. But yeah, so the issue is just basically that they drive people away by making the start boring. But yeah, if you aren't good enough to play, either keep trying or don't, but please give this game a chance. It's incredible, and it doesn't have very many issues. It's great. You'll probably love it.